Alright, today we're going to do a review of the Anker Solex Prime power bank. This one you can find it in local store. Best Buy sells it, yeah, all that stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna quickly talk about what I think about it. This is not much of a demonstration. If you don't like those kind of content, just talking about it, go ahead, just click away. But anyway, long story short, this Anker Solex Power retail for $199 or $189. Honestly, depend what you use for. You really need to think about. But from what I'm going to say, you might want to consider into those things. So this is units closest to the Jackery power station and Anker power station as well. So with that price, you kind of debate, do you want outlet or whatever. But one thing this device are capable as they advertise, there is a 140 power outlet, but seems like I can only get up to 100 just because I do not have a 140 power supply to charge this unit. Also, you are able to use both as charging, and I tried it on the Anker Solex F3800. That unit, it's, I think on the front of the port, it's about 100 watt. It could be higher output, but I'm not sure how to enable that, or if I'm not doing something wrong, or if I'm not using the correct cord. But anyway, there is couple of things that we need to know. I tried to the whole reason I purchased this unit is to try to run off the T-Mobile home internet as a backup solution, because it is running for approximately 12 hours for the T-Mobile home internet, whether it's the first generation, the second generation, the third generation, and the fourth generation. They all pull about 7.4 watts consistently. And so generally in the morning time, I plug in around 10 o'clock at morning time, those battery will be dead. So anyway, and then it drains pretty quickly as well. Soon as you plug into the power, the T-Mobile home internet will cut off. Now that does not happen if you are using a laptop. So theoretically, I think there is some kind of technology triggers it so that you cannot use this as a passive power supply for some reason. It could be by design by T-Mobile or by Nokia, by the manufacturer, to do that, just because they don't want people to do that. But you still can do it, just had to be a different way about it. Just to let you know that. Now this one, some people say have gyroscope, but I do not see a gyroscope on this one. This one is the more expensive one. I wasn't able to find the Anker Solex 737 unit to test. That one apparently has a little bit lower amperage. This one is 27,000 milliamp hour. So for what it's worth, it honestly don't matter. Now anyway, so that being said, you had to keep in mind that they cramped a giant heavy batteries into this thing. I don't know how, but they did. So, but long story short, I want to do a quick demonstration. This unit actually comes pretty handy when it comes to troubleshooting, and I do find this is pretty accurate because I have one of these, a USB cable right there that has they call it a voltage meter on it. So for instance, let's say if I got a laptop repair and somebody said, well, it won't charge. Okay, well, let me plug this thing into my little tester. Actually, I'll do they both had the same amount of port, but I do believe this one has a slower port, the C2, and the C1 has faster. Now I have a Samsung tablet. Samsung are notorious for tablet batteries stuck on the boot screen. So you can see So as soon as I plug it in, it gives you approximately the voltage, and over there, right here as well, you get a voltage as well. Granted, it's backward, but like I said, you get the concept and the idea. And as how accurate it is, it's pretty close, maybe by 0.1 watts difference. So, but I'd also noticed that every manufacturer measured differently, and so it's for that you really hard to tell what you're looking at. But as long as you see, oh, it's normal amperage draw, it's not 0 watt, whatever, you at least know that the board is receiving power and it is communicating with the charging. This device also has a Bluetooth app. Use this Anker Solex app as well, which is now their ecosystem. You can, especially with the Anker coming out all sorts of solar if you want to off grid. And also Anker are notorious knowing for their, adapters and power plug and all that stuff. It's one of those very competitive space, supplying high demand thing, such as we in the world of everything we power using USB-C, and this company literally just provide that. Now, honestly, I really like this power bank if the money wasn't a concern, but it is a concern just because with the amount of money that I bought from purchase this one and what I use it for, I don't think it's worth it, because there's alternative resource out there for the money. But again, I want to share my experience. What I try to do is to quote unquote learn how to be off grid and to be self-sufficient. But you know what, in the city you really don't have to worry about it. It's only whenever you're in a country, that's when you're concerned about, off grid dependence. And for us, we don't really have to worry about the grid going out anytime soon. Really, it rarely go out. The power rarely go out, honestly. So and that's another reason why in America we depend on the grid to supply and all that stuff. But the thing is, I also learned that with a power bank, it stores power, right? And what happens if you not prepared? Well, you can literally take this device to a local, anywhere that has power, and if you have 100-watt adapter, to 100-watt adapter, you can literally charge this less than 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and this unit will be charged no time. It gets you from 0 to 70%, probably less than 45 minutes. So that's another reason why it is very dependable. But now, gotta remember, battery does degrade quite a bit. So, don't depend on it, because, that's another reason why I think the money is not there. The technology isn't there. And, granted, they have all the software built in to prevent that. But ultimately, you got to remember, every consumer use differently. Every consumer use differently for their application. A lot of devices powered by USB-C has a communication chip, like the T-Mobile home internet. It may not let you use however way you feel like it is. And that's another reason why you always want to get a AC inverter to, trigger the system to do what you want to do. So in life, it's all about how you want to do it. And of course, there's always cost associated to it. So like, I want to charge this with a solar panel, but I can't, because they don't make a big enough solar panel yet, as I'm recording, which is I hasn't found it yet, and that charge this unit in no time. Granted, they do have power station that you can charge off solar that use 100 watts and those kind of things. But do keep in mind, those things are great, but you had to depend on the sun to come out. even that, you had to depend on the sky to produce enough sun, to give you enough sun to show up. So anyway, long story short, let's go through the menu really quick. So I'm gonna show you really quick what I think. So I'm familiar with Bluetooth, right? So when you click once, this is basically, if you double click it, it turns off the Bluetooth. And then if you click once, go to the next screen. This is basically tells you the battery capacity and the Celsius temperature and the Fahrenheit temperature. Okay, you can read that. Also, if you click on these, this is your time limit. So auto screen timeout, I set it to 30 minutes, and that's the maximum you can go. But you also can tackle those without using the app by simply double click on the side. It will switch between. So, and that is very cool. So you do have to, have that functionality. And over here is the brightness. So you can tap twice to lower it. And then you see right there, median. You guys can't really tell, but yeah. So, and then go to the next, and that's basically your screen. Now, they are able to, let me see. They're able to change scene, but I honestly think the scene is not a whole lot different. The other thing you had is a USB-A port, which is a lot of people don't use a whole lot anymore, which is right here. If we triple or double click on the, let's go to the next screen. Once the Bluetooth decided to do what it wanted to do. Okay, so I guess a device had to plug it in, no problem. We'll do that. So you can see right now the USB-A port is not on. So to double click it to make the USB turn on. Also, this enables you to charge your AirPod or the knockoff headphone that use a lot lower voltage. You can trigger that to trickle charge it, so that would be, make sure this USB port stay open or stay on. So for example, a very small, let me think, if you're just charging a headphone or AirPod, the AirPod voltage sometimes is low, and then it will just like, oh, there's no use for it. So this device will turn off. But you want to make sure to let the machine know, hey, I'm actually charging a lower demand equipment. So you want to enable this port as well. So this is very useful. Let's talk about temperature. So when I was charging this device, when I was charging this device super fastly, like literally, this device was pretty warm, and it hit about 46 degrees and approximately 100 some degrees according to the screen. But it was you gotta remember to use the cord that came with. If you use any other cord, such as this one that I did, these thing will get heat up and melt. Well, unfortunately, I didn't melt this one, but it did get hot enough that you gotta be careful. It's a bit warm to touch, and that's another reason why you always have to remember to use the cord that came with it. And I'm sure Anker will eventually sell 140 watts or 100 watts of cable, if you lose it or whatever, or something happened to it. But do take care of this carefully. So anyway, so do remember to keep this cord tight, don't lose it, or label it with something obvious that that way you don't lose it. Because if you lose that, there's alternative you can do is you can buy this adapter but I never was able to find it buy separately. So you can't purchase this separately unless some third party maybe sell it. I don't know, but it seems like it's proprietary. Mine it, so you just set on it. So anyway, that's pretty much it, and thanks for watching. If you guys have any question, let me know down the comment, and I will see you guys on the next one. Be